Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 21 Hats podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Feldman. This week, Dana White takes us along for the ride, sharing the remarkable opportunities and the daunting challenges she's confronting simultaneously. In a one-on-one conversation, we catch Dana at an emotional moment. After a triumphant trip to Germany, where she expects to open salons on multiple military bases, she's just returned to Detroit, only to learn that the team she's counting on is showing serious cracks. Even as she's signing contracts with the military, getting ready to roll out her franchising plan, and courting newfound investor interest in funding the development of her salon management software, those cracks have shaken Dana and left her questioning her approach as a CEO. Ultimately, she talks about those moments many entrepreneurs experience in the cold of night when things aren't going well, and they realize this is all on them. In those moments, Dana confesses, I'm scared and I feel alone. Even in good times, owning and running a business can be a lonely pursuit. Our hope is that these weekly conversations will let owners know they are not alone in facing challenges. Same thing with our daily newsletter, the 21 Hats Morning Report, which highlights the most important news of the day for business owners and which you can subscribe to at 21hats.com, where you can also find transcripts of our podcast episodes and lots of other articles and interviews. Joining me this week on the podcast is Dana White, who is CEO of Paralee Boyd, a chain of hair salons based in Detroit. The episode is titled, I Can Do It. I promise you, I can do it. Welcome, Dana White. We haven't spoken in a while, Dana, in part because you've been traveling the world. How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay, what's going on?
I have no idea what's going on.
What do you mean?
I don't know what's going on.
Well, let's start. You've just been traveling.
I have.
Where were you?
I was in Germany.
And you were there looking at a military base?
I was looking at like 5 or 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long were you there?
6 days.
Wow. So is that what you're not sure about, or did that go well? What can you tell us about that?
So there are great things happening, and there are some not so great things happening. And it's because of both of these things that I don't know what's going on.
I see.
Right? Like, what is going on right now? How is it that you win them over in Germany? I mean, win them over. Like, when I tell you, they are like, how many does she want? Oh, by the way, Fort Hood can be ready. Fort Bragg is a go. Like, oh, and by the way, don't forget, we want all of the. I mean, they are beyond impressed with me. And they're not bringing me on base to bid on these contracts as if I'm a contractor. They're bringing me in like I'm Starbucks. It's not, and so that's what I had to learn was the difference, right? There are salons on bases that they put the contract out and you bid on them. And you just keep bidding every time your contract is up. Starbucks doesn't have a contract. And neither will Paralee Boyd. That's how interested they are in having me. I've surpassed that process. And that's huge. The people who are working with me that know this company, AFIS, the Army and Air Force Exchange, they don't do anything with deliberate speed except work with Paralee Boyd. And they're moving quickly. So that's one thing.
That sounds pretty great.
Right? Exactly. That's amazing. You come back and you have a 7 a.m. debrief call about how you did such a great job and left such a great impression on that trip. Okay, great. So then you're franchising. And yes, that process has slowed down, not because of the work I'm doing in, military stuff. That stuff is easy. It's just looking and talking. That's it. But at this point, it slows down because your Midtown location is doing decent numbers, better numbers than they've ever done because now you're down to one location. But your team is falling apart. I get back on Thursday. I get a resignation letter from Ashley.
Wait, that's your operations manager, your key person.
Yep, my operations manager, and I get on Saturday. I got a resignation from my manager, and it was emotional. It was emotional resignations. It wasn't, this is a bad company. It was, Dana, we don't think you like us, from the manager. The team's morale is low because they just want you to laud them. Where's Dana? And so get on a conference call with my manager and operations manager. And my question was, as the owner, well, if my team does not feel appreciated, one, why am I hearing this after a resignation letter has been given? And two, why wasn't I told before? Well, why should I tell you? And then actually she did interject and say, it's your duty. That's your job, to let leadership know how your team is doing. So this is what I'm dealing with. And so I'm like, you know what? I need a strong manager. I need a team. Not to mention, there is the technology piece of Paralee Boy that's starting to percolate. Investors are coming to me. They're like, yeah, the military opportunity is great. Yeah, the franchising is great. But we actually want to talk about this technology piece you've got going on, because there's these two Black guys that have just developed this barbershop app called Squire. And yeah, they just raised about $750 million, and yours is more robust than theirs. So let's start getting this going. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So how is it that I'm at the precipice of all of this opportunity? I could potentially get the entire show of the military, that their hair studios and their styling salons will be Hair Studio by Paralee Boy plus Paralee Boy salons on base. The whole show. We're not talking 15. We're talking global. I've got franchising on deck. And I've got this tech piece that I've got 3 investors on the table talking about funding me in Q1 of 2022. But I got an operations manager who I'm going to be putting into a more administrative role. And I've got a salon.
Wait. I thought she resigned.
She resigned until she talked to me.
Oh.
So that's when we talked, she was like, I can work from home, but I've got to be here for my girls. And I can do the payroll. I can support you administrative-wise. I've got a stylist trainer who has a personal life that might not be conducive to the growth of this position for him. He might just need to stay where he's at, right? Because even being in Germany with me disrupted things a little bit. I've got a stylist trainer who is beyond talented, who was a hit in Germany, but he's got a personal life that is more suited to where he is and less to where he's going. They've already got me planned to meet with commanders and admirals, and you need people on who are going to be working with you who aren't going to say, I can't go because I got a concert to go to on Saturday, which I've heard. You need people who are going to be ready. And in all fairness to my stylist trainer.
Okay, so
let's unpack it.
Yeah.
Let's try.
You know, I got to tell you, my initial reaction is I'm hearing a lot more great stuff than bad stuff. That's my initial reaction. As far as the bad stuff, it seems to me that it boils down to 2 main issues. One is the workforce that you're dealing with. And you've talked to us about that in the past. People who are not necessarily as professional as you would like them to be. Or expect them to be, and have a right to expect them to be. And I think you thought that Ashley, your operations manager, was really helping with that. And that's the second issue that I see, which is you had placed a lot of faith in her. You thought, given her tremendous experience in the industry,
she's brilliant. She's brilliant to me.
You thought she was the key person who was going to help you make this work. And I understand you're saying that she feels beat up. It's hard for me to understand, just from the little bit we've discussed here, how someone with the vast amount of experience she has could be struggling so much with the issues in one hair salon. What do you think's really going on there?
I think first and foremost, she's a mother, which I think is great. And I think there are things in her role as mom that need her right now. It's not that she's not been doing her job. That's not it. I think what it is her role as mom is much more needed, and it's demanding. Like, even in her resignation letter, the very first part of the email was all about what happened with her daughter's tooth. and what was going on. And so
Were you at all prepared for this? Did you realize she was struggling before you got the letter?
When I tell you out of nowhere, we talked the day before I left for Germany, and we were laughing about how we should get to know each other better because I didn't even know what her partner's name was. So when she said, yes, Jade is sick, I didn't know who Jade was. I was like, Jade? I was like, wait, I was like, don't be rude. Who's Jade? And she started laughing because she said, I thought the young man coming in here and helping with all the maintenance was just the maintenance guy. I didn't know it was your fiance. And she's like, we need to talk more. This was the Thursday before I left. And so she said, I love working with you. I love talking to you. And that refuels me to deal with what I have to deal with in the week. To answer the other part of your question, I think there's a number two to it. In addition to the demands of her job as mom, we're in a very challenging hiring period right now. But I think what saddens me, and I've shared this with both of them, and I think what really saddened me, and it did bring me to tears. I said, Christina, why didn't you talk to me? I didn't feel I could. That blew my mind because she has my cell phone number. I was very communicative with her. We started having biweekly meetings. I even joshed around and laughed with her. It wasn't like I was this distant person. But she said, yeah, I know. I just didn't feel I could do it. And I can't really articulate that now. Maybe if I wrote it down and told you, I could articulate it better. What? And so what bothered me, what made me sad, not bothered me, what made me more sad, and I still have reservations, is the fact that neither one of them, considering the rapport, trusted me enough to talk to me first. That hurt because I poured into them. I had not poured it in like I made them. No, I talked to them. I engaged with them. I'm not really one to share my personal life because I don't want them to take that on because I do realize that they're creatives and they will. And they care and they're good people. So I don't really talk about my personal life, but I shared my hopes and dreams for the company. I shared my vision for the company. I shared how I felt they could be a part of that if they choose. I supported them as mothers. I talked to them about their families and their children. I didn't mind if Christina needed to bring her son.
Do you think they both appreciate the opportunity that stands in front of them and in front of Paralee Boyd at this point in time?
I think they do. I think Ashley grasped it, but Ashley's chosen her first job, which is to be a mother. I think Christina does. I think she does, but I think she wants something from me. It's not my place to give. And I think she needs to be a stronger manager. I think a stronger manager would know, you know what? That's not Dana's job to feed me like this. Dana's job is to make sure I have everything I need to do my job. That's it. My job is to make sure that you have a company to grow in. My job is to make sure that if you are having issues in your personal life as far as childcare, that you have a position that you could pay to have the appropriate childcare. That's my job, right? To grow this company. And I don't think they realize that because who looks like me that they can reflect on that does it? Every owner is an owner of a salon that collects booth rent. They're not getting military contracts. They're not franchising. And so they're proud of me. They're excited for me and they want to be next to me. And she said, we sell them on the vision and then no Dana. Well, then why? Well, what vision are you selling them on? Why is their expectation Dana? So I think they get it. I just think they want more of me. And I think that's the other thing I'll say to you is this, Lauren. Dana has grown up. Dana, the problem Dana has is Dana was not, if there was a mixed message about Dana being a CEO, it came from Dana because Dana has not been a clear-cut CEO. Dana's been the nice owner. Dana's been the friendly owner. Dana has not been a clear-cut CEO, and I'm still not. A clear-cut CEO would have moved a little differently, I think.
What are you thinking you would have done differently if you were a clear-cut CEO?
I think a clear-cut CEO, and maybe I'm overthinking this, but I think a clear-cut CEO, like for the examples with the stylist trainer, after the third or fourth time where the sign has been that this person may not be ready, clear-cut CEO would have moved, just pivoted. The nice, friendly owner is like, no, let's give him a chance. Let's groom him. This is an excellent opportunity. This is somebody I care about.
He's good at what he does.
He's oh my goodness. Like talent abound. So let's just, and on top of that, I've met so many people in this industry who aren't good people. And he's a good person. And I see so much in him and his potential and his way, you know, and he shined in Germany. Right. But again, my advisor said, yeah, that might be his potential, but that's not who he is. And he's built a life around who he is, not who he's going to be. And what you're offering is who he could be. And that don't gel with his life. I need someone who's going to say, yep, I can be in Fort Bragg next week for 4 days training. Not, well, I can't because I got a concert to go to. Well, I can't, Dee. I mean, I gave my word. I said I'd be at this concert. My advisors were like, a clear-cut CEO would have started looking to replace that person after all those signs came through. And I've been the friendly owner. Like, no. Let's give him a chance. You guys don't see what I see.
So one of the things I'm not hearing here is what I feared when you first mentioned the resignations, which is that these are all people looking at you or looking at the company and saying, I just don't believe in this. I don't think it's going to work. I don't want to be a part of it. And I'm not hearing that at all. Not at all. They've even said the opposite. I think that's important. It sounds like it's pretty clear that you need an operations manager. You've got so much work to do. I'm sure there's plenty for Ashley to do in a new administrative role. That I don't see that as a problem. Am I right that your real issue here, the thing that you have to solve first, is bringing in somebody who can be a real operations manager? I need someone who can be a strong manager on the floor of my salon. I need a strong manager. But that just helps you in one salon. That helps me in one salon. But I think an operations manager will be needed when we start rolling out these locations, and I need somebody who can travel. I need someone that when I call, I know when they're working. There were days I don't know when Ashley's working, and I would call and my call wouldn't get answered. But aren't you at that point now? I mean, sounds like you've got the green light for locations all over the world. I understand that's not going to happen tomorrow, but don't you need somebody getting ready for that? I agree. And that's why I was saying, because I don't have anybody in mind and because I haven't really put it out there and this just happened, I need somebody now. But, where am I today? And maybe Ashley is that person until I find that, because since we don't need to go to a location, maybe when it comes time for me to go to a location, we will have, onboarded that person, and then it can just be a smooth transition. Who knows? Maybe here's what's beating them up. I think them wanting me, or at least the salon manager wanting me, is because Ashley's an hour away and can't be in the salon as often as she needs to be. She can't give that. So there leaves Christina looking at Dana like, well, why aren't you here for me? I think the staff is beating them up. I think the staffing challenges are beating them down. People calling off, not coming to work, having a hard time hiring. I think it's beating them up. An issue that businesses all over the country, if not the world, are dealing with right now. Here's an example that Christina gave me that she said it might seem small, but it turned into something big. We bought 2 new flat irons that the stylist trainer had recommended that we use, considering the new technique we were going to use for curling hair, and he was training them on. They were working, they were fine, and then both of them shorted. Burned a customer's hair. It was handled. The customer was fine because she was a regular. She trusts us. She understands it was the flat iron. One of the girls quit because of that. She said her license was in jeopardy. And she said, I can't work for a company where these are going to be the flat irons that they use. The stylist trainer has been using that brand of flat irons for years. They were just 2 flat irons that shorted. Why is that indicative of an entire brand of flat irons and that you can't work in a company that they shorted? And I've had that happen before. Flat iron short. And what you do is if there's extra ones, you go to the back, you get some other ones, and you keep moving. But this is an example of these are the things that are beating the managers down. Again, though, I wonder, it sounds like not everybody in the business understands where this business is headed. If that stylist understood, it's hard to imagine her walking out the door over a flat iron, given the opportunity that's there.
Lauren, we have told them. We have shared it with them.
It's not real to them yet.
Listen, they've never seen anything like it before, especially for people that look like them. I don't work with girly coops. This is for white men. This isn't my world. And that's the thing. When it is real for you, it's going to be too late. When it becomes real for you, when you have a stylist trainer that is committed to being behind the chair and they're 70, no retirement, and here it was 20 something years ago, Dana was trying to set you up. So when you are 70, you can work behind the chair at your leisure because I know you love it. But if I can't get this workforce to see it, or if they don't believe in their ability, right? Or if their personal lives don't allow for them to bridge that gap, what do I do?
Well, you continue on the path you're on, and I think a lot of those things are going to become more obvious. If you're continuing to spend time on military bases around the world and then start opening salons on them, that will register, I think. If the software package comes together, that seems to me that will register. And I also think this is all important in terms of hiring the next operations manager. You have a much bigger story to tell now than you did when you hired Ashley. This is an incredible opportunity for somebody. And obviously, I don't know your industry, but there have to be other people with experience similar to Ashley's out there who would leap at the opportunity.
I agree. And the opportunity to work with someone that isn't a bitch, right? Like, you know what I mean? You're not dealing with, and even Ashley said, this isn't you. Like, she's like, no, every time I talk to you, I feel better, right? And she knows I support her, but I can't, and she can't, in good faith, continue on in her role knowing that her job is mom comes first. And right now, her daughters really need her. And she's over an hour away. And so now this is an amazing opportunity. And for somebody who knows the business, what I would love, and my advisor said this might be hard to find, is someone who has the business acumen of an operations manager that knows the industry. Oh my goodness. I don't care if you're green, white, black, green. I talked to my mentor and he was like, well, do you think part of her issue is because she's white? I said, no, because she's smart as I don't know what. It doesn't matter what her color is in her position.
Let's stay on that for a second, because you have talked about how important it is for everyone involved in your salon to know that it has been, it is, it will be Black owned. And I think, that's been true of customers. It's been true of employees. Did bringing in an operations manager who isn't Black have caused any problems? Is that in any way part of the issue here?
Oh, yeah. It caused not problems, but it caused, a beat to be missed with the customers, because as soon as they saw her, they thought I didn't own it anymore.
But what about with the employees and the management issues that you're talking about?
Yep. The employees felt, well, what does she know about our hair? And so, again, that's a challenge that I'm breaking through, even on military bases. And that's part of the reason why this is happening. When you have a contract on the military base with the salon, if it's a white operator in the salon, now all of a sudden that salon serves white people. If it's a Black operator, now they serve Black people. They are convinced that when we put Dana in there, it's gonna service everybody. And they're right, especially with the stylist trainer I brought on board, right? He can do it all. I literally had a girl quit because, she said, I don't know what Dana was trying to do by hiring a white manager. Maybe she thought she would look more professional if she hired a white manager, but they don't know what's going on. And I'm like, what? Why do you think I would hire white people to look professional? Who am I looking to? I hire people to get stuff done. So it's a mindset, and that's the biggest challenge. That's where my doubt comes in. That's where the tears have fallen, because is my business strong enough to defeat a mindset?
Let me ask you this. It strikes me that given all the things that you want to do, your one salon in Detroit might be almost irrelevant to the future success of Paralee Boyd. You're going to have an incredible hiring challenge as you open salons around the world, but I think it's going to be of a very different nature. I'm imagining that at each of those military bases, and you described the, remarkable size of some of them, there are going to be a lot of people who either, are civilians who live around the base or are spouses who live on the base. It seems to me you're going to have a lot of people to choose from to staff those shops. And the experience you're having in Detroit might not be at all representative of what's going to happen when you go global. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. We've been talking about staffing. We talked about it in Germany. Germany was hit really, really hard with COVID, and we talked about it when I went to Fort Hood. The reason why keeping Midtown open, because that has been something I've chewed on. Should I close Midtown? I've had some people say, yes, absolutely. However, I'm franchising. And when you're franchising, you need an open model to show people that this works. I've thought about closing Midtown and finding the money to open in a more viable market. My dear friend, April Anderson of Good Cakes and Bakes, she said, why do you doubt what you're about to do? And she said, don't answer that. I know why. Because you think what's happened to you in Detroit is indicative of what's going to happen in every salon you open. You feel you're multiplying Detroit, and it's not the case. Detroit has beat you down.
She's in Detroit too, by the way.
And she's in Detroit. Yep, she's here. And she's like, even look at Detroit versus everybody. We're proud of the struggle. We're proud of that. And she's like, and that doesn't bode well for business at all. And she said, if you were in New York, even in Dallas, the headquarters for AFES, the Army and Air Force Exchange that will be hosting me on these bases, they said, if you were in Dallas, your customers, you couldn't keep the doors closed. Like people are jammed in salons that want to be like yours, right? I think, and as much as Detroit has served me, if I could go back to November of 2011 and just sit down at my dining room table in Brooklyn with Dana and say, you know what? Yes, Detroit deserves you, but Detroit may not be ready for you. When I opened Midtown, there were women who wouldn't come to us because, one, they thought we were a white salon because we were so nice, and two, that they couldn't afford us. Are they ready? And the answer is no. They weren't ready here, right? But if you're on a military base and that's the only salon there, they get ready because they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Finally, for us, finally something that is for us. And they don't want to struggle. They don't want to go off base to get their hair done. They want to get their hair done on base.
If you had the right operations manager and the right manager of that salon, I don't think you'd even know about
exactly
the issues that you're raising. But it seems solvable. I mean, if you listed the operations manager job on any service and just listed requirements for experience being, working at one of the national chains, having experience, overseeing the operations of a certain number of salons, is your expectation that you would get a lot of resumes out of that? It seems obvious to me, but am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think before I do that, I need to be a stronger CEO. I need to, and that's what I'm working on right now, talking to my advisors and saying, what does my job look like at this juncture? Not in 5 years. And they can help me with that. As of today, this is what your job looks like as the CEO of Paralee Boyd and what working on the business looks like as a CEO. This is what you talk about. This is what you know. This is what you don't know.
What are you not clear on? What are you not sure is your job?
I'm too nice, Lauren. And I don't mean that I'm so nice. That's not what I mean.
Earlier, you said that one of the advantages of working at Paralee Boyd is that you don't have to work for a bitch.
Exactly. And I'm the farthest
So now are you saying
it.
that maybe you have to change that?
A little. And that's not comfortable for me to say, but it's true. I need to be a little bit more of a bitch. I think that, and the bitch is a hard word because I need to have a little bit more edge to me. Let me give you an example. I have an assistant. We had a call scheduled for 4:00. Get on the call. 8 minutes into the call. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to go. My car is ready. Nice, Dana? Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. Go ahead and go and call me when you can. No, not anymore. Excuse me, we have a call scheduled. And I have notes that need to be covered for this call. Are you telling me we're not having this call? Yeah, I got to go get my car. I got to go. Okay. And then pivot and get ready to find the next person. Well, I'll get to it after 7:00 tonight. Okay, that's Dana. Okay. No, I need that email sent 3 hours ago. And it's just an email. So what Dana's been doing is sending the emails herself.
But I don't think it's about being a bitch or having an edge. I think it's about demanding professionalism.
Exactly. Thank you. I need to be a better demander of professionalism, especially with all of these opportunities.
Let's take a quick break. I want to talk about that when we come back, but I want to hear from our sponsor, Work Better Now, which connects entrepreneurs with virtual assistants. You might want to listen to this ad when it comes out, Dana. When we come back, we'll talk more about all the things that you have on your plate and how you prioritize among them. I'm here with Rob Levin, co-founder of Work Better Now, which provides businesses with highly talented virtual assistants. Rob, I've noticed that owners tend to have certain questions about virtual assistants. For example, what exactly can they do?
Yeah, Lauren, we get this question all the time because people really know deep down that they need an assistant, but they're not exactly sure how it works and what they can do for them. I would say that our clients use our assistants in one of two ways. They will either use them, much like I've been using my assistant for the past 8 years, as an executive assistant, handling my calendar, which takes up so much time, email management, database, file management, personal tasks, creating documents for me. And then a lot of our clients basically operationalize our assistants. So we have assistants with titles like project manager, marketing associate, operations manager, and customer service representative.
I think some owners worry they'll spend more time managing their assistant than it would have taken them just to do the tasks themselves. How do you respond to that?
Right. This is a deadly trap, not only with assistants, but really with any employees, which is, I can do it faster myself. And the reality is you might be able to do it faster yourself. Of course, it's impossible to grow your business if you're doing everything yourself. I was very much of a similar mindset. And what I did with my assistant is I basically told him what needs to be done and had them document it. I hate documenting tasks, but I know that processes are so important. Now we have a manual full of my tasks. I only had to tell him once that he can follow time and time again. And if he's out, somebody else can follow. And also think about it this way. If you're a business owner making something like, let's say, $200,000 a year, which is about $100 an hour, you're basically paying somebody to do administrative work at $100 an hour if you're doing these tasks yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. What does it cost?
The cost is $1,900 a month. And as you know, Lauren, we are offering 21 Hats readers and listeners $150 off per month for 3 months just by mentioning the word Lauren. There are no contracts. Also very important for people to know.
Can you promise a return on that investment?
If you're not getting a return, something's not going right. All of our clients are not only getting a return with the first assistant they've hired, but many of our clients are now on their second, third, and fourth assistant.
Where can we learn more?
Workbetternow.com. And again, when you sign up for a 15-minute consult, just mention the word Lauren and we'll make sure to give that $150 off for each of the first 3 months.
Thanks, Rob. And we're back. So Dana, each of these by itself would be a great opportunity. You have all of them piling up. Can you possibly work on all of them at once?
Not by myself.
Well, no, but can you oversee all of them at once?
I think so. And can I be honest with you?
You always are.
Thank you. There are people on these teams that care about me. And their care is starting to impose, and their care is feeding my doubt. For example, I don't know if Dana can do this. Let's stop doing this. Whoa. Dana is more than capable of saying when it's too much for her to do. And that has always been a struggle I've had. People, for some reason, have looked at me and already put my line in the sand. Oh, she can't do more than this. This is too much for her. Well, let Dana. And I'm fairly intelligent and I have a high emotional IQ, right? I'm very in tune with myself. Let Dana tell you when that line is.
Are you hearing this from your franchising consultant? Because I assume they're aware of all the other things you have going. Are they concerned?
Yes, they are. But I'm not upset or frustrated with them because honestly, it comes from love. When I tell you, Chris is my godmother, like love her. And she wrote a long email and she's not wrong, but talk to me first, right? Let's have that conversation first. Hear what Dana needs, hear what Dana can do before you all surmise that this is what we need to do for Dana. You said it best. All of the issues that I have are solvable. They're not looking at it that way. They're like, well, they're saying they're solvable, but let's get it. There's this franchise box that they have for Paralee Boyd. And I don't blame him. It's worked for several franchises. And there's been several times, and they've been really good about understanding that this is a little out of the box. And in this situation, I'm going to need them to understand that this too falls outside of the box with modifications, right? So let's manage this, but talk to Dana first. I've watched 3 emails go by, and all they've heard is what I've said is the issue. They haven't talked to Dana about how I'm going to handle it.
Is this happening because you guys have laid out a timeline and you're falling behind and just not able to keep up with what they thought you were going to do when you set out to franchise?
Yes, and they believe that the reason why the timeline is slow is because of the military. It is not. The timeline has slowed down because, one, there are things that are culturally that need to be addressed and handled on the back end. This franchise needs to be a lot tighter than, okay, we're ready to award and let's go. No, there are things on the back end that need to happen. 2, I need this salon to do better. And this is what's wonderful about them. They said that in the email, but they came to that decision without talking to me first. My delay in franchising is not because I went to Germany. It's not because I visited bases. That's a day trip, right? My delay has been because we open a franchise and there's this technology piece. They're really like, no. She doesn't need a technology piece. They don't see what I see. If we don't have this technology for a walk-in only hair salon, there's going to be a wait and none of them are going to sell. We need the technology to support what we're doing. And I can start a whole other company, have a CTO, which we've already talked about, who can help me with this. So it's not Dana doing it, and we can roll these out with franchises, and we can roll these out on bases.
Wait, you're operating your salon in Detroit without this technology.
And we're struggling. There's waits.
But you're talking about waiting on franchising and on opening military bases until you have software developed?
Nope. Because that's not it. The phase that we need just to be operational isn't going to take long. The primary reason for the delay in the franchising is because Midtown's not tight. Staffing shortages, ups and downs, hills and valleys. And why do I know this? Like you said, because my leadership team isn't tight. I need a strong manager. I need a strong manager who can pick up the phone, call my operations manager, have it handled. What do we need from Dana? We need this from Dana, and go.
What is the most important reason for having operations tight in Detroit as it applies to franchising? Is it because franchisees who are going to invest in Paralee Boyd have to see an operation that's working?
Yes.
And have you shared this with your franchising consultant?
Nope. They've shared it with me in the email.
I see.
And I don't disagree, but I would have preferred them have a conversation with me first. There was a lot of deductions made, a lot of conclusions that were come to. And I'm thinking, they haven't talked to me in depth. They've heard the problem, but they haven't heard about how I want to go ahead and solve it. This is my plan.
Well, there doesn't seem to be anything lost because they put it in an email. Maybe they felt this was the most efficient way to start the conversation.
Exactly.
Especially with you traveling. Maybe Germany did have some impact in that sense. This was the way to get to raise the issue. And it doesn't sound like they are unwilling to have the conversation that you want to have.
No, they're definitely willing. Again, you have to understand, this is a franchise consultancy that cares. These aren't people that are just trying to control everything. And no, these are people who are truly invested, not only because of the work they're doing with me and, the relationship, but these are just good people who are invested in Dana and care about Dana. Like Chris, my strategic implementation person, she's like my godmother. Like I see her on the screen and I'm comforted. I love Chris. I just feel handled. I feel managed. I don't like that.
All right. We're almost out of time. Let's prioritize. What do you need to do? And where do you need help if you need help? Let me list a couple of things and you can add to it. You need to get the operation the way you want it in Detroit.
I need a strong salon manager. And they don't have to, if they have industry experience, great. If not, fine. My strongest managers have ran restaurants.
Are you the person to hire that strong manager, or do you need an operations manager first, whose first assignment would be to hire that salon manager?
I need to hire that person with someone.
So you needed the operations manager first?
No, I believe right now, Ashley and I could hire a strong manager together.
I see. You have so much on your plate and you have so much opportunity. Have you thought about trying to structure your business so that you are offering these key people you hire participation in the results that you expect to get?
Absolutely. And can be glad to do it. Would love to do bonuses, profit share or something, right? And as well as offer them opportunities to grow in their craft and to grow in this industry.
Because again, this isn't just being the manager of one salon in Detroit. This is an opportunity to be manager of a very important salon in Detroit that's going to be a model for salons all over the world, and that could lead to all sorts of other opportunities if done well. Correct?
Yes.
The kind of opportunity that someone might move to Detroit to take, knowing that it could lead to another job in Atlanta or Brooklyn or Germany.
Lauren, the Fort Bragg contract is done. The Fort Hood contract will be done in February, or if not, by the end of this year, and I'll be ready to go in February. This is happening. If I had a license to operate in Germany, I could be on 2 bases in 6 months. Like, this is happening. Next trip, Kuwait. Fort Campbell, my very next trip, I'm leaving for Fort Campbell on Monday. They're ready yesterday.
When do you think the first base will be open?
Sometime in 2022. Because command is already signed. Like, I get the contracts in a couple weeks. And that still takes time. You got to get permitting. That takes 45 days.
Have there been moments in the past couple of weeks dealing with this where you had serious doubts?
Oh, moments? You mean like hours and days and dreams?
Really? Are you sleeping at night?
Yes, I'm sleeping at night thanks to jet lag. Woohoo! But let me tell you what gets me through. Prayer gets me through. And the 4 tenets that Jay taught me. 1, it is what it is. 2, deal with it. 3, you are operating with a good and noble purpose. You did not open this salon to hurt people. You did not do ABC. You did not bring on these managers to make their life hell. You brought on these managers to create an opportunity for them in the future and help you build now. That's why I brought them on. And guess what? When you get in my way, fuck you. I'm having problems with number 4, though. I'm having, because that's where that demanding professionalism comes in at number 4, right? I'm having trouble with that. I'm not like, well, maybe. No, I need to be a little bit more on number 4.
All right. Well, that might be a good topic for a subsequent podcast. Get some input from some of our colleagues.
I'd like to get input from your listeners, especially after this episode. You know, you know what, Lauren? I thought I was going to cry. Yesterday morning, I was in tears. Laura has texted me, how's it going today? Like, it has been, and that's just in my business life. You know, I'm a person and I have a personal life, right? And so that's a whole other episode where, you know, it's, you know, my engagement. Whoa, right? It's like, that's a whole other, you know, Toronto is amazing, but still, you know,
I was going to say that's going well, right?
It's going healthy, which means he may not be ready.
Oh.
And it's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing.
You do have a lot going on, Dana.
I have a lot going on. And then I found out that my payroll provider hadn't been paying my payroll taxes, even though they took them from me. So there's a legal hold of an exorbitant amount on my account. They haven't taken the money, but there's a legal hold until we get this sorted out with ADP and paychecks. You guys took the money. Why didn't you pay it? Found out one of the reasons why is because I had the wrong EIN number. They're like, oh, our bad. You think? So that's why, when I tell you I'm dealing with a lot, I'm dealing with a lot. So yeah, the tears have fallen. Yes, there's been doubt. Yes, I'm saddened by the fact that the support I have around me, even in my stylist trainer, is gone. Yeah, when you lose somebody like Ashley, and even though she's not a complete loss yet, there's a modification, I still laid in bed in the dark at 5:30 in the morning and read that email. And the feeling in your ears, in your chest, and you first think, what did I do? You realize you didn't do anything, right? Even at her words, it's not you, right? You still go through that. And I said, when you asked me at the beginning of the episode, what's going on? I don't know. I don't know what's going on because I'm on the precipice of all this opportunity. And then there's all of this, as Laura would say, shit, right? As Laura Zander would say, there's all of this shit.
All right. We'll have plenty more to talk about in coming episodes, but thank you, Dana, as always, for sharing so openly and honestly what you're going through.
You know what, Lauren, one more thing. I'm scared and I feel alone. It's chilly. It's like cold.
Why do you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, the thermostat in my house is at like 75, so I know it's not really cold, but I'm scared. And I feel alone. And I know I'm not the only entrepreneur that feels like this.
No.
But that's how I feel. I feel like, especially with how quickly people can not be who you need to grow your company, how quickly, you can have that key employee that turns into that key ex-employee. That can happen in an hour, right? How quickly it can go. You realize that all there is you. You're not going anywhere, right? You have people you can talk to, of course, Jay's amazing. Laura is awesome. And then other entrepreneurs. And you keep that circle small because, like I said, in the entrepreneurial community I'm in, they're comforted by your struggle. But that's where the loneliness comes in, where you're like, wow, who can I talk to that's been through this? Who knows how cold it is? It's chilly. And how scary it is because you don't know if you're spinning your wheels. You don't know if you're doing all of this in vain. You don't know if this is a waste of your time. And in this current climate, time is a very valuable resource that's not given to everybody. I can't tell you how many people have died in my newsfeed. I can't get off social media because everybody's dying. So that's how I feel. It's scary because I'm giving so much time, and it's lonely because who will stand next to you today and support you today? The support I thought I had last week, I don't have today. I don't have that. And that's what makes me emotional. I'm sorry, Lauren.
I hear you.
That's what scares me. Because I'm like little Dana and I'm like alone. And this opportunity is so big. And Lauren, I can do it. I promise you I can do it. It's in me. But I really believed that I had the support of these people. And I don't. And now I'm standing here and it's cold. I thought I had it and I don't. And I'm alone. And I'm okay. I'm going to do it, right? I'm Jay's mentee. Listen, I was like, Jay Goltz is my mentor. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to tighten my bra strap and I'm going to go. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be okay.
I think so too. Thank you, Dana White.
You're welcome, Lauren Feldman.
Wait, don't leave yet. If you have a question or a comment that you'd like the 21 Hats owners to address, Send it to me by replying to your morning report or by email at lauren@21hats.com. That's LOREN @21hats.com. Do it now before you forget. And don't be afraid to tell Jay what you really think. He can take it. And if you got something out of this conversation, help us reach more business owners. Tell a friend. Subscribe and review us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the Morning Report at 21hats.com. This episode was produced by Jess Thuberon, founder of Blank Word Productions. Okay, now you can leave. Thanks for listening, everyone.